For a century, Disney defined family magic. Then, in 2021, the Reimagine Tomorrow campaign set a 50% inclusion target, and an executive's leaked not at all secret gay agenda raised questions about the company's new direction. As the once unbreakable empire faltered, fans asked, how did one agenda shake Disney's foundation? The real answer reveals what is at stake when a legend rewires its soul. Walt Disney stood for more than cartoons and castles. From the moment Mickey Mouse first appeared in 1928, the company set out to create a world where families could escape together, if only for a few hours. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, released in 1937, broke new ground as the first feature-length animated film. The story's simple themes, good conquering evil, love conquering fear, became the blueprint for generations of Disney storytelling. The parks that followed, starting with Disneyland in 1955, weren't just attractions. They were physical promises. A place where anyone, regardless of background, could step into a story built on hope, wonder, and safety. The company's guiding principle, often repeated by Walt himself, was to create entertainment that parents and children could enjoy side by side. That idea carried Disney through the decades, as classics like Cinderella, The Lion King, and Beauty and the Beast brought families together around shared values and timeless lessons. Disney's influence stretched far beyond the screen. The castle logo became a symbol of trust, its brand woven into the fabric of childhood across continents. For nearly 100 years, Disney stood as the gold standard for what family entertainment could be: universal, uplifting, and uncontroversial. Every ticket sold, every parade down Main Street was a reminder of the company's promise to protect the innocence and imagination of its audience, no matter how the world outside might change. In 2021, Disney unveiled an internal mandate that would become one of the most controversial in its history. The Reimagine Tomorrow initiative set a measurable target. By the end of the year, half of all regular and recurring characters in Disney's scripted content would come from underrepresented groups. This was not a suggestion, but a requirement tracked across every creative division. Writers, producers, and animators were given new inclusion standards with diversity metrics tied to executive performance reviews. Training sessions on topics like microaggressions and anti-racism became part of daily operations, and the company's website presented these changes as a new era for Disney storytelling. The mechanics of this shift stayed largely behind closed doors until the spring of 2022. That is when a video from an internal Reimagine Tomorrow meeting surfaced online and ignited a firestorm. In the clip, executive producer LaToya Ravano spoke candidly, saying that leadership had been super welcoming to her not at all secret gay agenda, and that wherever she could, she was adding queerness. Her words, intended for colleagues, quickly spread across social media and news outlets. The leak did not just reveal a change in creative direction. It exposed the deliberate top-down enforcement of a new ideological vision at Disney. For many, this was the first real glimpse into how the Reimagine Tomorrow mandate operated, not as a quiet evolution, but as a company-wide campaign with clear targets and unapologetic intent. The fallout from this revelation would soon spill far beyond Burbank, turning an internal policy into a national debate. Rachel Zegler's name exploded across social media in August 2023, when a clip from her press tour surfaced. In it, the new face of Snow White dismissed the original 1937 film as weird, called The Princess Stalker, and promised a remake that would abandon the classic love story. Her words hit a nerve. Fans who grew up with Disney's earliest princess felt betrayed, accusing Zegler of disrespecting the very story that defined the brand. The backlash was swift and relentless. Hashtags like hashtag #NotMySnowWhite and hashtag boycott Disney trended for weeks, with critics dissecting every interview and soundbite. Even the son of the original film's director said Walt Disney would be turning in his grave. The uproar was not limited to Snow White. When Halle Bailey, a black actress, was cast as Ariel in The Little Mermaid, debate erupted over whether Disney was rewriting its own history. Supporters celebrated the new direction, but online forums filled with arguments about authenticity and nostalgia. What began as casting decisions and offhand remarks had now become a full-blown brand crisis, with individual actors at the center of a cultural storm. Disney, once shielded by its wholesome reputation, found itself answering for every creative choice and every viral quote. On March 22, 2022, hundreds of Disney employees walked out in protest. Their demand was clear. The company had to take a stand against Florida's Parental Rights in Education bill, known by critics as the Don't Say Gay law. Under mounting internal and external pressure, Disney's leadership issued a public statement opposing the legislation. The move upended decades of careful political neutrality. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis responded swiftly. He accused Disney of pushing a political agenda that clashed with the values of Florida families. Within weeks, DeSantis and state lawmakers targeted Disney's special privileges, threatening the legal framework that had governed Walt Disney World since 1967. By June 2023, the state formally stripped Disney of its self-governing status in the Reedy Creek Improvement District. This was more than a legal setback. For the first time, Disney faced a state government openly challenging its influence and autonomy. The clash spiraled into a national spectacle, boycotts, headlines, and political fundraising, all feeding off the feud. Disney, once above the fray, now found itself at the center of America's culture wars, with its reputation and business interests caught in the crossfire. The numbers told a story no magic could rewrite. In November 2023, The Marvels limped out of theaters with just $206 million worldwide. Despite a production budget north of $270 million, it became the lowest-grossing film in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a franchise once considered bulletproof. But the bleeding did not stop there. Disney Plus had racked up more than $11 billion in losses since its launch, even as the company pushed through price hikes and boasted about subscriber milestones. Behind the streaming optimism, quarterly reports showed red ink quarter after quarter. Wall Street took notice. Disney's stock, which had peaked near $200 in early 2021, tumbled to around $80 by the end of 2023, erasing billions of dollars in shareholder value. For the first time in nearly a decade, Disney lost its crown as the top global box office earner, with Universal Pictures pulling ahead. Other big bets like Lightyear and Strange World failed to find an audience, each contributing to a growing list of expensive misfires. The empire built on family dreams now faced a cold financial reckoning, measured in dollars lost and dominance surrendered. While Disney's box office power faded, Universal Pictures took the spotlight. In 2023, the Super Mario Bros. Movie stunned the industry, pulling in over $1.36 billion worldwide. Families crowded theaters for a story that offered pure fun, no lessons, no lectures. Just the kind of escapism Disney once owned. Universal's winning streak did not end there. With Epic Universe, a new theme park set to open in 2025, Universal doubled down on nostalgia and fan favorites, aiming squarely at the audience Disney had left behind. Inside Disney's boardrooms, the mood shifted from confidence to caution. CEO Bob Iger, once the architect of Disney's streaming ambitions, faced questions he could not ignore. In late 2023, Iger admitted, "We've been focused too much on what I call the messaging, rather than focusing on the storytelling itself." It was a rare public acknowledgement that Disney's creative priorities had drifted. As Universal soared, Disney's leadership promised to pull back from the culture wars and respect the audience again. For the first time in decades, the company that once defined family entertainment was now playing catch-up, searching for a way to win back the trust it had taken for granted. Today, Disney's identity crisis signals a larger truth. Even icons are vulnerable when they lose sight of their audience. As Universal surges ahead, the entertainment landscape shifts. Loyalty, once forfeited, is rarely regained. In the end, legacy alone is never a guarantee for the future.